Welcome to the Full Dive Gaming Podcast, bringing you a full dive of all the news, discussion, and insights you need for virtual reality gaming. This podcast is brought to you by Asterion Products. They're a top-selling company on Amazon. They got great VR and AR products, including their Asterion Aura VR headset stand. I'm Jay Brad. I'm a VR YouTuber and streamer.
I'm Nat Brett, a VR enthusiast who wishes virtual food, had flavor.
And I'm Adam Charlton, a software developer who is so happy to be back.
We are so happy to have you back. I know life has been busy and it's been a while, but we're just ecstatic that you're here with us again tonight.
It's great to be back, and I'm excited to talk about all things VR tonight. It's been a while, and let me tell you, I've only developed more opinions in the meantime.
It has been a doozy lately in the VR industry. We were like, oh, nothing's happening. Now everything's happening. But you know how you listen to this podcast. We're here to keep you up to date in the VR realm. We're going to answer the questions from all of you out there. We're going to talk about the latest and not always the greatest, apparently the most controversial VR news lately. But then we're going to discuss games we've been playing recently, our experiences. So if you're listening right now, come check us out on YouTube where you can see us face to face. Or if you're on YouTube, then take us anywhere with you to listen to on podcast platforms. We got all kinds of questions. Adam, are you ready for this question?
I'm not sure, but we're going to do it anyway. So the first question is from Stradamus, and he asks, what are your thoughts on pedicures and why should every guy get one at least once? So obviously the best part about this question is just already assuming that everyone wants a pedicure to begin with, right? And so I have never received a pedicure, and so I don't know if I can have any deep thoughts on pedicures or why I should get one. I suppose the answer for that is I'll go get a pedicure and come back and tell you guys about it, right? The special pedicure episode coming up, right?
There we go. I'm excited.
The episode on pedicures. Guys, this episode has nothing to do with VR.
You need a break from VR every once in a while, right? We'll have like a pedicure episode, right? We'll go and have like, the
mac and cheese episode.
The mac and cheese episode. You gotta have some of that extra content just to spice things up, right? So I guess we'll have the pedicure. But you really gotta take time just for that self-care, right? And a lot of people that I know like getting that pedicures because it's just time to like take care of themselves and make themselves feel nice and pretty, right? And so if that's your thing, totally go for it. And I'll go get one and come back and tell you if that's my thing for self-care.
Oh wow. I don't like feet. I don't like people touching my feet. So I don't know that I think every guy should get one or every person should get one. I think if if you like the idea of someone else cutting your toenails, more power to you. But that just seems like the most uncomfortable situation to me. Nat, you've probably had pedicures, right?
I have. I've had a couple, not as many as some people, but okay, one thing that's gross is that I learned that if they don't like disinfect the like foot bath thingy correctly, you can get like foot fungus from it, like from someone else's gross fungusy feet.
Okay.
My desire to get a pedicure has gone down immensely.
Just make sure that you see that they like have some like chemically stuff in the bowl after people.
If I'm going in for relaxation, I'm not going to be like observing the bowl for floaters before I go to relax, Like that's not top on my priority list.
The other thing is like they sometimes give you like kind of a massage and they'll like kind of massage like your calf. And for me, it tickled. And so I was like, that tickles. Like, I need you to do more pressure because that tickles. However, it is kind of weird to have someone like clip your toenails and stuff. They usually don't really have to clip them as long as you like keep them a normal length. But they'll like,
file them down.
Yeah, the file and stuff, which is kind of nice. I mean, I haven't gotten one in a long time, but it was pretty nice.
Well, that's more feet than I ever wanted to talk about. So, Nat, do we have another question here?
We do. We have another question from Shafe Dog asking, given recent medical advancements that have allowed an ear to be 3D printed and surgically attached, what is one body part you'd want to 3D print, and why is it not the body part Play PSVR is thinking of?
Oh boy.
If you don't know, play PSVR. They're another podcast. They get very inappropriate, so we're
those
not going to go
rascals.
there. Who wants to start?
I don't have anything. Adam, what do you think?
This is important once you become a parent. That you always sort of need the eye in the back of your head to see what your kid is doing. 100% that's what I need, because I swear the second that I turn away, my kid will just be able to like destroy an entire room. And just once, I would like to see how he's able to manage it, because it seems to border on the impossible, you know?
Oh,
Boy,
that's great.
That's a great answer for that, actually.
It is.
It's a very safe answer, too. Which is
I personally am very happy with everything about myself, and I don't have any like, oh, if I could print this or add this to myself, what would it be? I do kind of look forward to the future of seeing where this goes, though, like that Deus Ex future where you can like augment your body in cool ways, like add night vision to your eyes and stuff like that. 3D printer right now isn't going to pull that off. This is only replacing something you've lost, and as I haven't lost any body parts yet, I don't see the need for this quite yet for me personally.
Hey, you don't necessarily need augments, right?
Not yet.
I feel like I would 3D print like an organ that if you lost
kidneys.
not lost it. Yeah, like an extra kidney.
Yeah, print kidneys and sell them on the black market. Sure.
Just have some backups laying around in case
that should have been my first answer, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm just going to augment like 1,000 kidneys and then just like start selling them, right?
New lucrative business
liver,
model.
but livers are pretty resilient, so I think probably like a kidney or something.
Interesting.
How fun.
Interesting.
We got some very interesting questions this time.
Yeah, I think we got one more from Shafe there, Adam.
Yeah, so our final question is from Shafe Dog again, and he asks, Adam, are you a better podcast host than Jay?
Oh.
So, I don't know. I mean, we got the battle of the hosts here, right? I'll rock, paper, scissors you for it. How about that?
Well, before we do that, I'll bring up one little point to think of. I have never missed a single podcast. Just if that
hurts me in the heart, yeah.
Not a single one since this podcast has begun.
Man,
but we can also rock, paper, scissors just to see how this goes.
Let's rock, paper, scissors. Okay, on shoot. Okay, ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that definitively proves it. I threw out the paper, and Jay threw out the scissors.
I scissored him good, and I won because of that. So I don't know where the questions came from tonight. Shoopy asks, opinion on jumping spiders or animals in general.
We got one more question? I didn't see this one.
We've got like 3 more questions.
What? Okay. I thought we were at the end of the questions. Okay.
We have so many. So many.
Is it jumping spiders and animals, or like jumping animals?
Maybe just anything that jumps. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say jumping spiders are a little terrifying because they're so unpredictable, but spiders in general are not your friends if you're into VR. There's a short on my channel recently where I came into the studio one day with John and found out a spider had laid an egg inside of my ring light, and little baby spiders were all coming out of my ring light, all above my desk where both my VR headsets were sitting. So that just wrecked everything for me with spiders. So I have a bad opinion of spiders at the moment. Hate it.
I think it really depends on the number of legs. Like, if you got something that's jump on 2 legs, like a person or a kangaroo, totally fine. Or a koala. I'd love to see a koala try and jump. If you got like 4 legs, it's really size depending. Like seeing a grizzly bear jump would be terrifying. And then anything more than 4 legs is just a straight no.
Yeah. So
yeah. Why is that? Why are legs so creepy?
Are terrifying when they jump because they just like praying mantises. They just like fly at you. I mean, not fly, but jump, but scary. It's awful. They have such creepy eyes.
It's like a jump augmented with a fly. Yeah.
There's the augments we were talking about. Well, the leg thing, you're totally right, though, because I used to live in Hawaii, and centipedes, they have so many legs, and they are the most disgusting, terrifying creatures on the planet.
Did they jump?
Also because they are hard to kill. They do kind of a pounce thing when they curl and then they like attack their prey.
They do? So they like actually can jump?
They are.
Uh,
It's more of like a bend up and pounce or something, but they are fast too. No one tells you that. They move
That is nightmare
fast.
fuel.
Yeah, they are the worst. I got into a battle with one, and I didn't know at the time either. They are hard to kill. They are. You have to like not only step on them, you have to like put your weight into it to actually crush one.
Oh.
They are the worst thing ever. Yeah.
Until this conversation, I would have laughed at the phrase "did battle with a centipede," and now I totally get where you're coming from.
Well, because they also get huge. I mean, they can be crazy big. They are the
Willow's
worst.
coming to make me feel more secure.
Just going to make you feel
Willow
safe.
the
Well,
cat.
maybe
You
we
see
should.
a cat jumping though? Great.
Cute,
Right?
adorable. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah.
we should reel this back to VR. I think we got an actual VR related question, Adam.
What? On this podcast?
I know.
All right. Beef asks, let's hear if his preference, I'm guessing his being mine, let's hear if his preference has changed on Index versus Meta headset since the removal of the Facebook account and how the library of meta games has grown substantially since VR devs seems to have flocked to Meta. That is a big question.
Mhm.
I will say, 90% of the time, I'm still using my Index headset. I got both the Index and the Oculus headset and the Quest. And I'm still using my Index. It just gives me that higher fidelity, a little bit more comfortable out of the box. The controllers, for whatever reason, just a little bit better. However, I will say that I'm not hating on Meta anymore.
What?
The Facebook account being removed is a big plus. The way that they're going with it and a lot of the good support that they're getting for games. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed with it. And I think I'll probably talk about this in a bit later, but it's nice being able to throw your Quest in a backpack and just take it with you on the go and not have to worry about carrying around your big gaming rig, right? Like that is
Mhm.
nice. So I will say my opinion has been changing a little bit. I wouldn't put it above my Index, but it's definitely improved since the last time I've chatted with you guys.
I'm excited to hear about that. We're going to hit on it more in the games and discussion, of course. We had one last question. TBATF Tord asks, what's the opinion on the Quest 2 price increase? We went pretty heavily into this on the last episode of Libnox, but since Adam's here, we're going to talk about it a little bit in the news. But before we get into the news, we got to tell you about Asterion Products. They're our sponsor for the podcast. They've been with us practically from the beginning because they love us. Go check out their Asterion Aura VR headset stand on Amazon and use code FULLDIVE10 on Amazon to get 10% off to get your own glorious glowing RGB headstand. It's awesome. Headset stand. Did I say headstand? You can do a headstand with one, I guess. If you want. Well, we talked about it briefly. Quest 2
Awards
price.
in the Discord. Yeah, if you do it.
Quest 2 price went up today. It happened the day we're recording. It'll be a few days before this launches, but today it happened. It's $400. But I saw a really funny detail on Reddit I wanted to tell you guys. And they were like, hey, who else found out the Quest 2 price was going to go up? But there was that silver lining. You get Beat Saber for free after the first. So they ran to the store, bought their headset, and did not turn it on until today. So they got the lower price headset, plus they got Beat Saber for free. I was like, that person knows what they're doing. I didn't even think about that.
Life hacks.
So smart.
For real. For real.
I love that.
You weren't here last episode, Adam. What do you think about this?
About the price increases?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's about time. We all suspected that they were selling these Quest 2 headsets at a loss for a while just to try and promote VR. And then, the economy started changing a bit. VR really started catching on. Meta really cemented themselves as the VR powerhouse. And then they're like, all right, time to start making money off this. And then just started cranking up the prices up. So, I mean, it's unfortunate that that sort of people's gateway into VR, that barrier of entry has gone up a little bit, but honestly, I'm not terribly surprised about it.
As a developer, do you think that $100 could make the difference between losing money and making money on it?
Honestly, yeah, I do think so. Because, or at least they're making it at cost now. I definitely think that they were subsidizing it. I think that they were selling every single headset at a loss. I mean, if you just think not only the parts in the headset, right? Like the screen and the electronics and everything, the controllers, just the electronics themselves, but all the cost of making them and shipping them and entering into partnerships with companies. I definitely think $100 is probably the right amount maybe to be losing money on it, to be breaking even, or even making some money off every headset.
And they're
interesting.
definitely, if people actually buy the accessories from their store, then they'll definitely be making up some difference there because their accessories are ridiculously priced.
Oh yeah,
And they all went up in price. I don't know if you knew that, Adam.
Ooh,
They
I
all went
didn't
up in price
catch
too.
that piece of info. Yikes.
Yeah. Every accessory official one went up. Like the Elite strap with battery, it was 109, is now 120.
Oh boy. Yeah, if
Yeah.
I had to place money on it, I'm betting that they raised the price to start selling it break even. Like I bet you that their new price point is just break even. They're just trying to get the headset into people's hands and then basically, upcharge them on all the accessories or sell them on all the games. That's what I think is going on.
Yeah. It is giving some breathing room. Other competitors are like, oh man, maybe we can come back in and actually have a competitive price with them. Maybe we can get our headset in that price range because no one thought 300 was touchable with VR right now. But
Yeah,
400,
honestly, it probably wasn't.
yeah, 400, 500 for the higher edition. That's putting us on point with more like what we used to see the PSVR costing. And
Oh yeah.
Nat, I think you've got some news about the PSVR for us, or PSVR
I
2.
do. Unfortunately, it's not the news we all want.
Ugh.
But earlier this week, Sony revealed some new software features coming to PSVR2, including live streaming with face cam. That's pretty freaking cool. In that announcement, Sony also teased that they'll share PSVR2's release date, price, and launch games soon. Yay. We haven't already been waiting forever. And we see it's kind of surprising that Sony hasn't released these key details yet. Some are wondering if maybe Sony is watching the VR market right now and seeing what's going on, waiting for the last possible moment to reveal that launch date and cost. And maybe they're trying to avoid running into a situation where they increase the cost of the headset after its launch. So maybe maybe they don't want to be like Meta. I don't think
Nope.
that would work with Sony with their headset. I think people would be more up in arms than with what's happening with the Quest. But
yeah, like with Sony, they have a reputation to uphold, right? With
right.
Meta, everyone already hates them already, so it doesn't matter what they do, right?
It's a valid point.
Pretty true. So what do we think about all this news? So much news.
I'm interested personally to see how the live streaming with face cam would work, right? Because when you think about VR headsets and just like sealing it around your eyes, when you talk about a face cam, like what actually is the camera going to be showing, Like, is it just going to be the strip of your eyes and you can watch their eyes dart around in like a little screen? Or is it hopefully going to be like a little bit more removed from the face? You can get some of those good facial expressions going. I'm interested in how they're going to incorporate the face cam personally.
We've seen a screenshot, although we don't know if this is the final product or whatnot, but it basically looks like the PS5 camera that you have is going to just take a picture of you inside the headset, show video of that. But the interesting thing was it looks like because there's two cameras on there, it probably does some depth sensing, and it looks like it's going to cut your background out for you.
Wow.
And put you, so it looks more like you're kind of sitting in the game, not mixed reality or anything, but like someone who has a good green screen and then sits there with their VR headset on and plays the game. It's looking like that, which for PSVR is a big step. Because if you think of PSVR 1 and what it was like to stream, you couldn't see the person. The screen itself was distorted and there was like these black circle edges all around the screen. It just wasn't a premium live streaming experience, where it looks like with PSVR 2, it's going to be as good as most people right now, most big streamers who stream VR, but it's not going to be something revolutionary like with the eye tracking camera where they like put your eyes back on your face. Doesn't look like it's going to be anything quite like that yet.
That would be so weird.
A little nightmare fuel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited though. That's pretty cool that they're doing.
Yeah,
that.
when we get details, because they're soon, right? Honestly, so the building that I work at is under construction. And it's been under construction for a while. And every single time we ask when it's going to be done, it's always 2 weeks, right? It's always 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks to done, and it's been 2 weeks for about 6 months now. So that's sort of the same feeling I'm getting from like the soon announcement. It feels like that we've been right on the urge of that PlayStation 2 big release for a while, but It's coming soon.
Yeah.
So soon.
Yeah.
Again.
we're on that's all we're waiting for, and it's still very divided. A lot of people are saying March 2023. Road to VR still thinks it's
See,
going to
that
be
does not feel
holiday
like
this
soon.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Road to VR thinks it'll be this holiday, which I don't know. That's coming up pretty quick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not holding my breath.
Yeah, if you had to place money, what would you say?
I'd say March of next year.
Really?
I just don't imagine, unless they're planning on like launching this fast, not giving people much time to pre-order, and then dropping it in the middle of the holiday. That's just not that much time. When the original PSVR came out, I put in my pre-order in March to get it in October.
Oof.
So that was a long span of time that I had to pre-order it. I mean, if they said today, this is coming out December 1st, they'd have to start pre-orders like immediately. And it still wouldn't even be that long of a time unless they don't pre-order. So I really think they're going to go through the holiday, get as many PS5s in houses as they can, because you have to have a PS5 to use it. And
That's
then
a good point.
After the holiday, they say, okay, now we've sold that next 20 million units. Now we're ready to launch PSVR and hopefully get 10%, 20% of people who own a PS5 now.
Yeah.
Right, but think about those incredible, PSVR, PlayStation 5 bundles that they could have sold, right? Like maybe people are having a hard time getting PlayStation 5s because they're holding all of them back for the PSVR bundles. It's like, oh, you want a PlayStation 5? Well, you got to get our VR with it.
That would be so expensive, though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, people would be ticked at PlayStation if they were to do that. But, I can dream.
I've been so excited about this for so long. I'm like, when they finally release it, I'm gonna freak out. And it'll still be like so long. They'll be like, the release date is a year from now. And I'll be like,
oh, we hope not. If they do that, I think people are going to forget about it for a while.
Oh,
well, apparently last week was just the week of controversial news in the VR scene, between the price change on the Quest, between VR chat pulling the mods out from under everybody's feet. Now we've got a story that has been out for a little bit, and it's still developing as things happen. But basically Meta, who we always end up talking about when we talk about VR, is in another war with the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC is trying to block them from purchasing a studio called Within. They are the creators of the fitness app Supernatural. If you don't know Supernatural, it is basically the VR fitness app right now. It's a subscription based, but you get in there. There's different workouts that show up every day. All kinds of big artists and big names have been attracted to Supernatural. Nat and I actually use Supernatural pretty regularly. They are trying to say, oh, well, you already acquired Beat Saber, and Beat Saber was the leading fitness app, but now you're trying to acquire Supernatural, which is the other leading fitness app. You're trying to monopolize the entire industry. But the interesting thing here, too, is there's some weird verbiage getting thrown around, because when this first was talked about, they were saying, no, you acquired Beat Saber, which was a music app, and now you're trying to acquire Supernatural, which they were also was trying to say was a music app. So maybe it's switching gears to this whole fitness, because it's a little more, they can tie it together a little better if they try and say both apps are fitness apps. And this, of course, is after Meta has had issues with this before outside of the VR realm, buying Instagram, buying WhatsApp. They're trying to say, oh, you're just buying everything in the field so that you have no competitors. You own them all. Now they're trying once again to stop them from doing this in VR. So I'm curious, what do you think? Obviously, they want to own everything. They're a business. Businesses want to own everything and make all the money. That's how the business world works. They're not supposed to.
Yeah. I definitely, in my opinion, it definitely seems like Meta's trying to buy it out and trying to, maybe not in name, but kind of in practice, get a VR monopoly with the stuff that they're going for. It's funny that they're classifying, in my opinion, Beat Saber as a fitness app, right? Is because when you think of hey, I want to get Beat Saber, you don't think of it for the main purpose of fitness, I think, for most people. For a game like Supernatural, you get it because you want to work out in VR. But I don't know if that's necessarily the case for Beat Saber. It feels like the FTC could definitely see, like, okay, obviously Meta here is just trying to buy out a lot of the industry. We need to make something stick. And so they're trying to like shove Beat Saber into this fitness box, maybe to make it stick. But I don't know. That's sort of what I feel like is going on here.
I think it's just kind of funny because I feel like Beat Saber and Supernatural although when I first saw the ad for Supernatural, I thought, oh my gosh, this is just a Beat Saber knockoff. But
really?
they're very different. Like Beat Saber, even though some people use it as like a fitness thing, it's really focused on like the music and the, getting to the top of the leaderboard, where Supernatural is all about just the fitness. And I think they're very different. I don't fault anyone for going after Meta, because they're just a big, I don't know. They're too big. They're trying to take over everything, and if people are just trying to figure out something to stick on them, I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I feel like they should have gotten in trouble for making the price of the Quest so low.
Really? You think so?
There was some pushes about that, I remember, trying to say that you're basically just not making any room for your competitors to come in and make anything. Well, they fixed that. They brought the price up.
I know. Honestly, I was a little bit
how kind of them, right? How kind of them.
Yeah, once they have so many people that have it, they're like, okay, now we'll bring the price back up. Okay, cool. People
yeah, well, in the FTC's defense, if they had managed to, or if this does go through and they buy within, that would be the 6th VR studio that they now own. Beat Games, of course, with Beat Saber, Sans Roue, Asgard's Wrath, and blah, blah, blah. But the funny thing to me is, like, they've bought so many, and every time they do, it seems like the studio's never put out another freaking game.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Why are they buying these if they're not making more games out of them? What is going on?
It is weird.
Maybe they're all working on secret meta projects that will come out with Horizons or whatever.
Blah, blah, blah.
Horizon Pop 1.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was kind of wondering, and when we talked about the Immerse app on VR, the one that's a language learning app, I was like, wow, this seems like something that Meta would really, really want to be a part of. And I was like, I bet they're going to try and buy Immerse if Immerse does well, because it's kind of a new thing to have language learning, like not just language learning, but like education, like fully based in VR type of thing. I'm like, that is something I can totally see Meta being like, yum, yum, want new thing, give me. Yeah.
And that's one of those
Meta like Cookie Monster.
and that's one of those things that I can definitely see sort of practical applications for the metaverse that they're trying to build, right? Mm-hmm. It's like language learning, getting to know other people and interacting with people around the world in this virtual space. The language learning fits really, really well into that vision. And a lot of these games, I mean, they're cool and they're fun, but like you said, Meta buys them and then they just kind of disappear. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what's happening.
It's strange.
It's interesting. They buy all these game studios, and gaming, it's why we're here for now in VR. There's a lot coming. The future's going to change, but gaming is why we're here. So we're going to talk about some games, and of course, Adam's experience with his Quest 2. We got to tell you one last time before we do. Asterion Products. If you're new to this podcast, maybe you haven't heard about them. Go to AsterionProducts.com, check out. They've got these awesome headset stands that glow and make your room look gorgeous. I've got a personalized one in the background on my cool new shelf over there that's glowing right now. And if you use code FULLDIVE on their website, you can get another $5 off any order, $19.99 or more. Adam, you've been gone for a minute. You've been busy. You're here now. And I want to know, what have you been playing?
So I had I had to go on a trip over the last couple of weeks. And it was so nice. I was able to throw my Quest into a suitcase and just take it with me on the plane no matter where. And so I thought that this is the perfect opportunity to really, dive in and try out some of the big name Quest games that I've been putting off for a while. And one of those games was Medal of Honor. So we talked a lot about the new Medal of Honor VR game coming out, Above and Beyond. And it got a little bit of a bad rap at first, but I decided that I'd give it a shot anyway. It's had, a year and a half to sort of develop and get updates for it. So I thought I'd jump in and try it out. And now, Jay, I know that you have had some experiences with this game or a story with it. You want to tell us about that?
So 2 months ago now, was it? I was sent down to the Meta store to see the Meta store before it opened up. And part of this couple days down there near Meta headquarters. We got to go to the Meta campus, and we got to sit in front of a panel of some of the top people at Meta and hear them talk about what's going on with VR, what the future of it's coming. And one person there, Ruth Bram, some of you may know the name, or if you don't, if you've ever watched an Oculus Connect where they talk about the upcoming games, she's the person you see standing there talking, telling you about the games coming. She was talking about the work that went to Medal of Honor and how amazing of a game it is and all these amazing things about it. And it's so, so good. And then she said,
it's an Oscar-winning title. It's the first one that made gaming history for winning an Oscar.
And I was like, I made a face and thought to myself, like, because between all the great things she'd said about the game, I actually haven't played the game, but I remember when it came out at launch, there was a lot of controversy about the quality of the game and all that. When she said one, I like looked up into the corner, like thinking, is that true? And then she called out, she's like, you just rolled your eyes at me and pointed right at me.
Made gaming history for winning an Oscar. I know you were rolling your eyes. Okay, I know you're shaking your head like, oh, she's just spouting a bunch of little craps at us, but no, I'm not. He has these like, there's like eye movements here.
I was like, did it really win? Like, is this a thing? And apparently it did, but it was like for the storytelling aspect of it, from the war stories and that stuff. Like it was more that part of it, maybe not necessarily the game, which makes sense, but it was like I got called out so hard at that moment. I was like, they're going to send me off campus. The guys are going to come in and grab me and take me off this campus, and I'm going to get ejected from this whole thing. So yeah, Adam, does Medal of Honor live up to all that amazing hype that I was getting fed while I was there?
Absolutely not. Like, I mean, I know that it got a little bit of a bad reputation when it first released, maybe because, you know, it was supposed to be like this AAA studio that's making a Medal of Honor game, which is like a really, you know, it's a series with a lot of heritage and good games behind it coming to VR. And so I knew that it had some reputation, and I knew that, you know, maybe it wasn't the most polished game, it'd be some glitchy, and I came into this game and I was still disappointed. It was a rocky experience. It felt like something had been thrown together as quickly as possible, and if I had worked on this game, I would be embarrassed, and I like wouldn't. I mean, it's, and maybe that's hard. Hopefully, like, no developer from Medal of Honor like listens to this podcast. But like, if I worked on that game, I would leave it off my resume. That's how bad it is. You know, it was just a rocky experience, and there was just a lot of tech glitches, and the gameplay just wasn't very satisfying. And that's one of the worst things that you can kind of say about a game, you know, because we've played lots of games that all have their glitchiness. One of my favorite games, you know, War Dust, one of the glitchiest pieces of junk that you'll ever play in your life, but it's the most fun piece of junk you'll ever get to play with. This is just a piece of junk, and it's just not fun to play. Like, I kind of had to force myself to keep playing it. It wasn't great. No, Jay or not, have you had a chance to try out Medal of Honor?
I still haven't, because I feel like the price was high, and I just was like, after everything I'd heard about it, I'm not a huge World War II buff. I wasn't like, there was no reason that I actively wanted to be in this game. So I was just like, that price, I'm not going to jump on this thing anytime soon. Maybe I should, just to see if getting called out was worth it or not now. But I think it's got like a 6 out of 10 from some of the different news outlets on its score, which is not an exemplary score. I would say. I don't know what it is on actual Oculus, because the way they set it up, it's like you click on it, it's like this big experience on the page, unlike other experiences, and it doesn't show you the normal like ratings and stuff. Which I feel like they're playing it up. But yeah, I have not played it still, but it just doesn't seem like my thing, and now I'm even less likely to want to jump in.
Yeah, I am like never interested in anything that's like, woohoo, war and guns. I'm like, meh. And so it wasn't on my radar at all. And now, like, I'm so excited that you played it, Adam, because I was expecting that that you were going to say, actually, it's really good. It's just great, hilarious to hear that it was actually terrible.
It was just painful to play, and it was and it was painful in the frustrating kind of way, you know, like you're trying to play through the campaign, and an enemy clips through the wall, and shoots you
Oh
through
my
the wall.
God.
Like, you can't hit them. It's just their gun that's sticking through the wall, and they kill you through that way. And that's
Wow.
the frustrating kind of game that you don't enjoy, you know?
Yeah.
And there's just some things about game design that they just seem to be missing. It's like that they had all the assets and they threw it together in the game and they said, "Go, have fun with it." And they just like here's the best example that I can come up with, right? Like, there's some really interesting ideas that they have. Like, there's a mission where you have to get in the sidecar of a motorcycle and you have like a stationary machine gun. You know, like, that's a cool, interesting idea. You know, you're going through this level and you're taking shots at vehicles and trucks as you're going by. Like, it's a cool level design. But you can, it's almost like they never play tested it because when they spawn you in the level, it spawns you on the other side of the sidecar. And so, I had to physically walk over in my play space.
What?
But it crossed the boundary. Like, I ran into a table trying to get over there.
Oh my God.
And so I had to like move over and then recenter, like move all the way over to the other side of my play space and recenter it, and then walk over to the sidecar. At the same time, like, the level's not stopping. Like, people are shooting at me.
Oh my God.
And it was just a mess. You know, so really it's like bad. It's a lot of good ideas and good set pieces and just terrible execution. It was rough.
Oh man.
Well, I fought through it. For those of you who are here watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening, you might want to come check out this one on YouTube. I will show what you have to get through on their webpage to like get to the actual buy the game screen where you can see the reviews. It's like an experience just there. But I finally got through it. It looks like it has about a 3.7 rating on Oculus, which is low because I mean, you don't see them low often. 48% gave it 5 stars. 20% gave it 1 star, and everything else in between. It definitely. And the problem is, so let me ask you this question. They kept throwing around AAA. This is the first AAA game on Quest 2. This is AAA studio. This is AAA this, AAA that. Did they build the expectations too much? Would this thing have gotten better reviews if they just said it's a Medal of Honor game and let people make up their own mind? Because they, even now, it says on here AAA on the page. Like, into this AAA game, did that overblow the expectations?
No, for a weird way. It definitely feels like a AAA game. I mean, I spent, you know, there's a decent amount of content in the game, like a shocking amount of content. You know, I'm playing through and I go through like this entire story arc of you know, completing a mission and doing some interesting spy stuff and shooting, obviously, just Germans by the thousands. And then you get to the end of it and it's like, all right, end of mission 1. And you're like, wait, hold on, that was like mission 1? And there's like how many missions? There is a ton of content in this game. It's and so in that sense, it really kind of does feel like, in some sense, like a AAA game. Like, there's so much content and there's so many set pieces. Like, one of the missions, like, there's some interesting ideas. You know, you're in a bomber and you have to like run between the different like gunnery stations in order to take out these German planes. And in that sense, it feels very much like a AAA game. It's just the execution of that AAA sort of premise was bad.
A AAA game that is just bad.
So, I mean, you might want to call it maybe like a triple F experience, right? If we had to give it a grade.
Oh my gosh. Amazing.
Oh no. If Ruth ever finds this episode, I'm going to be in a whole world of trouble.
You were rolling your eyes. Okay.
I'm the one giving the opinions. She can go ahead and get mad at me, right? And then I'll just pop away from the podcast for another year in penance.
Yes. Well, the game's still $40. That's been my biggest barrier. I mean, $40 can buy you a lot of games on the Quest store if they're on sale, at least. But I don't know if Medal of Honor's been on sale. But $40, I expect a lot at $40 on Quest. Like, I expect the Walking Dead level of game.
And you know, the thing is, you do get a lot of game. It's just, you know, it's just not any of it's good. It's like the Chuckarama experience, right? You get an all-you-can-eat buffet, but none of it's good.
Yay!
However, there is one interesting point that you said. There's almost like an entire sub part of the game where you find these war stories. and you can collect them or you can view them throughout the game. They're sort of in a separate menu. And in that aspect, they went around and using really high using really in-depth, I don't know how to say this, like the quality is just shockingly good, let's say. Like the quality of the interview and of the photography equipment and of the recording equipment is just out of this world. And they're interviewing these war vets and their experiences, and these are people, like the people who lived in that time are kind of aging out. And it was an amazing level of detail and care taken to sort of remember these stories. And in that aspect, it's truly beautiful. But it also felt kind of out of place with sort of the rip-roaring action of the Medal of Honor game. And so it's almost like it's two separate experiences. It was really interesting.
Yeah, maybe they should have just had like a documentary that was separate.
Yeah.
And is it like video footage like that you just kind of like watch? Or is it something you're kind of like in the 3D space of when you're hearing these stories?
It's more video footage that you watch.
Okay.
Yeah. But it does sort of make it into a very cinematic type of experience.
So maybe they should have just made a documentary and not a game.
Oh no. Well, is there anything else about Medal of Honor the listeners need to know, or do you want to tell us about other games that you've been in?
Nice, good.
Honestly, I think that I have said probably far more than I should have about Medal of Honor, so we can move on.
Well, what else? You took it portable with you. Were you using this thing to do some exercise? Were you just gaming the whole time? What else did you try?
The other main experience that I tried out was Pistol Whip. And I know that we have talked extensively about Pistol Whip on this show. But they've added some updates to Pistol Whip since the last time I played. I don't know if you've talked on the podcast extensively about the new contracts mode that Pistol Whip has.
I would love to hear your thoughts on it. We talked about it a bit. I would love to hear your thoughts. And actually, over behind me on the shelf, they sent us this Pistol Whip kit that has like Pistol Whip John Wick gold coins, like they use in the movie, because of the contracts update. And I was like, oh, that is so cool. So tell us your thoughts and what the contracts update meant to you.
Okay, so I won't go too deep into it since it's been discussed on the podcast pretty thoroughly before. But for me, the contracts really changed a lot of the game. Like one of the problems for score games like Beat Saber or Pistol Whip has for me is that it feels like it really quickly becomes cemented. It's like this is the way that you play Pistol Whip with these modifiers. And that's the way that you play. Sometimes you can throw in some more difficult stuff to try and like spice it up for yourself, make it more difficult. But rather, you're going for the top score. This is how you do it. And once it becomes pretty saturated, like the top scores become locked in, it kind of feels hard to kind of force yourself to jump in back into that competitive environment. The contracts mode kind of changes that for me because it throws in daily and weekly and monthly an entire brand new set of challenges for you to try. It's sort of like, and sometimes with completely bonkers modifiers that you wouldn't normally play with. It feels like a brand new day brings a brand new challenge with new content every day. And it was shockingly good for me. Like I remember being excited every single day to try and see what new contracts. And I got really into the environment of trying to go for score because the scores reset every day. You can actually make a meaningful impact on getting onto the leaderboard. And I don't know. I think that the contracts update is one of the best pieces of content that they brought to the game for a while.
That is so funny. I'm so glad that you're here to talk about this, Adam, because
did you not like it?
I was okay with it, but I was like, my favorite update was now I can't even remember what it's called. The first one that was like the cool, like
the campaign. Yeah, the robot campaign.
Yes, the robot campaign.
Yeah.
That was so cool. And I was like, when I heard there was another update, I was expecting like some cool campaign, like some new story. And so when I saw it's just like, I was like, okay, this is cool, but it's like, it doesn't feel like enough of something new for me. Like I really like hearing your perspective. You're more of like a leaderboard person than I am because I don't really care about the leaderboard. I know that I suck. I know that I'm not going to get on the leaderboard anyway, so I don't really care. So for me, it was like, okay, it's cool, but I was hoping for like another cool story, especially since I was not a fan of the second campaign.
Yeah, me neither.
What was the one thing, something about the train they kept saying over and over, like, if you didn't get through it, then you have to hear all the dialogue, and you're like, oh, at least you didn't have to hear awful dialogue with the new cool
contracts.
Yeah, well, Jay, what was your thoughts on the contracts update?
Well, I am not someone. This would actually be a great thing to talk to my brother about, because I am not someone who cares much about daily challenges. He like does all of them on games that he's into. But what I did like when I tried it was it did force me to try a modifier setup that I would have never done. So I saw the value in it. I was like, okay, for people who like this, people who are trying to get more out of Pistol Whip, this does give you something totally new, and you have to play it a totally new way, which I thought was cool. But I'm not someone who ever goes, oh, I need to beat this challenge, I need to do this. But that being said, the one thing that for me kind of hit me the wrong way was that campaign update was ridiculously cool, and updates before that had added new songs, new environments, new things that you played. So with this, it just felt like they kind of remixed the same thing that they already had to put out an update. So I was like, yeah, it makes a new thing. It makes a new challenge. It can refresh the game a little people, but I was looking for new content. I thought there was going to be more new stuff. I think there might've been like some random modifiers that were new and stuff, but I was hoping for levels and songs. And I was hoping for this whole, I even thought at least they said contracts. It's like, made me think that it would be a little more official. It'd be like, oh, at the very end, once you pass it, you see this like awesome animation of you like in a tower with a sniper rifle taking out this person that was it just felt like, okay, you added daily challenges and you called it contracts. It wasn't quite what I was expecting, but it was cool, and it's free, so I can't really complain. I just had different expectations, I think.
Yeah, you see, and that's so funny because I absolutely adore this update. For me, it felt like the size of the game tripled, because it's not only like, you get through all the different songs, you play them on all the hardest difficulty, and then you played all the songs. But then doing sort of these challenges that are forced on you, that are, I think maybe they're semi-randomized, with these sometimes bonkers modifiers that are put on you. It forces you to play the game in a different way, and that to me feels like it's doubling the amount of content in the game. Because sure, you can play through these songs, bam, I know exactly where every single enemy is, and then it's like, okay, now it turns on the Deadeye modifier, where you have to, it doesn't have any of the auto aim, right? You have to get them right on. And that completely changes the game, and it makes me relearn the entire level again. And so for me, I don't know. I definitely like it more than the Wild West campaign. It's it's a pretty low bar to pass, right? But it still jumped over it. But it's on par with me on that first robot campaign update. Like it's equal to me in my mind with that update.
That's big. Well,
some of the reason too that I wasn't as excited about it is because I just am oblivious, and so I was just like, this is neat, and I didn't even realize that I had different modifiers. I was just like, oh cool, I'm gonna do this, and I got through it, woohoo! Like, I just don't get enough attention to even know what's going on. Maybe I would have been more like,
I do want to.
It's just sort of that nice expectation that every time I boot up the game, there's going to be something a little bit new to try out, and that's nice.
Yeah. And I wanted to reiterate, good or bad, this update, like, if you don't own Pistol Whip, this is a must-own VR game in my mind in general.
For sure.
And they keep rolling out free updates. But when we took the quest to Animazement, the convention we were at this summer, we had people play Beat Saber, Pistol Whip, and Job Simulator were their options. And Pistol Whip by far was the favorite. Everybody, people came back to play more of it. One guy was like fully addicted. Like, we had a hard time getting him out of the headset. And he came back, like, I swear, 6 times in 3 days. Like, he was always in there playing Pistol Whip every time. So if you've been sleeping on Pistol Whip, whether this update was good or bad, the previous updates, the content, you've got to own Pistol Whip, in my opinion.
For sure. It's a great game. It's so much fun.
Well, we touched on a little bit of what Adam's been up to. I do feel like you were like, I've spent a lot more time in the quest, so I do want to give you a minute here. What do you think? Because we had that video a year ago, actually almost a year ago to the day, when we were in Texas and you tried the quest for the first time, and you were like, I don't know if I'm going to get one because the Facebook thing. You ended up eventually getting one. What have you learned over this last year that you would say to anyone who's thinking about the quest still?
If you are, it's hard for me at the moment, even with the price increase, increase. If you're looking for just general use VR, unless you're going to go super hard into it, it's hard for me not to recommend anything but the Quest. It's still just an incredibly accessible headset. It's flexible. Like I mentioned, I was able to take it halfway across the country just because you don't need a gaming rig. It's standalone. You can just throw it in a suitcase and go. But it still has that flexibility of being able to hook up to your gaming rig and play some of these Steam VR or PC-based VR games. It's hard for me to recommend anything but the Quest. And I can feel my soul dying a little bit as I say that. Because I love my Index and I will literally stab someone before I give it up. But it's that's sort of the state of the VR world that we're in right now, is that the Quest 2 just really is that good. Obviously, if you think that you're going to go super hard into it, or if you have a really specific application in mind, right? Like I do a lot of flight sims. Quest 2 isn't great for flight sims. And so unless you have a specific application like that in mind for your VR setup, it's hard not to recommend a Quest 2. So that's sort of my general thoughts on it.
We hate to recommend it, but we have to.
Because it's what's out there right now. Stuff is coming. It's on the horizon. If you know about anything,
like PSVR2 soon.
Soon. Well, we'll keep you posted here on the podcast as things happen. And if you want to chat about it even further, come hang out with us on Discord. We got all these crazy Q&A questions tonight came from there. So if you want to ask more crazy Q&A questions and hear us fumble through awkward answers, then please come ask us more about. Don't ask us more about feet. Actually, do not do that. We chat about VR, and of course, we got to thank our people on Patreon, our supporters who are supporting this podcast and covering all of its costs. Now we really thank you. If you're out there and you're listening, come see us on YouTube. You can see all the fun little things that have been happening in the background, like my cat who's asleep right now on the ground behind me, perfectly in the frame somehow. I don't know how she found that spot.
Cute.
But we'll go on the go with you just like the Quest 2 does if you want to listen to us on Spotify, iTunes, Google, and you can rate us there if you like. That really helps us out. But hey, remember, if you're thinking about VR right now and you're going to do it, what do you got to do, Adam?
You got to dive on in.
Dive on in.